So I watched Paprika last night for the first time and I went to Threads to talk about it. Watching Paprika for the first time, why do I get the feeling Christopher Nolan ripped this one off for Inception? There are certain story beats, there are certain visual narratives, he translated one-to-one into Inception. To me, that's no longer a homage, to me, that's a ripoff. To me, that's stealing. King Spearman 19 said, "Because they have similarities, that's it. People like to try and say Nolan ripped this movie off," ripped, when the reality is he was working on the concept and script for Inception years before Paprika was released. But people like to try and say it's a ripoff because it's well known Darren Aronofsky actually did rip off Perfect Blue. He's alluding to the movie Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream is a ripoff of Perfect Blue. I agree. At the same time, Christopher Nolan ripped off Paprika. I replied, the Paprika novel, written by Yasutaka Tsutsui, is older than Christopher Nolan's idea for Inception. Hollywood filmmakers have ripped off foreign novels and movies for forever. Perfect example, the series finale for Xena Warrior Princess is a carbon copy of A Chinese Ghost Story from 1987. Another example is the movie Gaslight from 1941, which is ripping off Angel Street from 1940. MGM tried to bury the original film for years, and they reply, "It literally means less than your opinion, which is already nothing, so it means less than nothing." I guess I got the Nolan boy mad. Like, what the fuck? What is this? It's a well-known fact that Hollywood is ripping off other countries' movies. We'd actually call Hollywood the colonizers of the movie industry. What the fuck is it that you're arguing with me about? Christopher Nolan ripped something off. I can no longer say that Christopher Nolan was just inspired by Paprika to make Inception, because when you translate something one-to-one visually to your own film, that's stealing, especially when you do not even credit the original source. That is stealing. That is not an homage. Can somebody please explain to me how Threads is not X? That platform is as toxic as the other one. The internet is just insanity at this point. Paprika was actually amazing. I loved it from start to finish. That was visually stunning, vibrant, and the story was fascinating. Do yourself a favor, if you want to watch a good film with good visuals, watch Paprika. And by the way, the Paprika novel that got released from 1991 till 1993 in a magazine, and then it was published as a full-blown novel in 1993. Christopher Nolan had the idea for Inception long before the Paprika movie. I don't give a fuck if he had the idea long before. The novel existed long before Christopher Nolan came up with this fucking idea, and one could even assume that he read the novel and then ripped that off as well. Hollywood never had any ideas of their own. Don't even get me started on George Lucas ripping off Akira Kurosawa. That's also a well-known fact. Everybody who says, well, he just took inspiration. Sure, that's called stealing, taking inspiration.